personally identifying genetic consult because it builds trust. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for a chance to question witnesses.
Yeah. I'll take my turn now. I'm going to start with Mr. Selsavage. In 23andMe's March 23rd press release, the company indicated that data privacy would be, quote unquote, an important consideration in any potential sale. But when there was a motion to appoint a consumer privacy ombudsman in the bankruptcy, 23andMe first opposed the appointment of an independent ombudsman to ensure that genetic data was protected in the sale. Why did the company oppose appointing a privacy ombudsman?
Mr. Chairman, 23andMe was the first to suggest that the bankruptcy court appoint a customer data representative, which would look at the privacy issues in this particular bankruptcy case. 23andMe at the time did not believe that a consumer privacy ombudsman was needed. And the differentiation there is a consumer privacy ombudsman is required in bankruptcy when there's a change in the privacy policy from one company to the next. In this particular case, we, as part of the bidding process for 23andMe, were requiring that any company that was considering acquiring 23andMe's assets, including its database and its customers, would be required to retain the privacy policies and consent going forward.
I think that answers that question.
Yeah.
So is 23andMe's priority to sell consumer genetic information to the highest bidder, or to ensure that the genetic data it has collected will be protected according to existing privacy policies?
Mr. Chairman, our customers' data and privacy is, a top priority in this process, at 23andMe and for the special committee overseeing this process. It is not just the highest bidder. We have required that, basically any bidder, as I said, and the two remaining bidders have affirmatively said that they would actually continue those privacy policies and consent and put that in writing in their asset purchase agreements or contracts to buy the company.
Also to you, the point of bankruptcy is to, quote, marshal assets in a way that maximizes their value for the benefit primarily of creditors, and then once creditors are paid, for owners, end of quote. And in your written testimony, you agree with the aim of maximizing the value of the business for stakeholders, but placing as little restrictions on the customer data as possible makes the data more valuable to the buyer. Would you characterize genomic data as a bankruptcy asset?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that the genomic data is an asset, and we have 23andMe is treating it and not only maximizing the value for our creditors and our shareholders, but also, one of the most important pieces of parts of 23andMe is our customers and our customers' trust, and we are putting their privacy and their security as part of that process, and it's top of mind for the company and special committee overseeing this process.
Okay. Based upon your yes answer, isn't your duty to protect consumer data in tension with your duty to maximize the value of the estate asset?
I think we are looking at both of those duties combined, Mr. Chairman.
So I think you're saying that consumer data doesn't have a higher value than the estate. So aren't you a little bit in conflict with some other things you said here?
Basically protecting our consumers' data and their privacy and their consents as part of this process is a large consideration, and as I mentioned, it is not just accepting the highest dollar amount for the assets.
My last question will be Mr. Klein. In 2019, the DOD advised members of the armed services not to use direct-to-consumer genetic testing devices. The guidance noted the risk of mass surveillance and the ability to track individuals without authorization. how could foreign adversaries use either the personalized or the aggregated genetic information of U.S. service members to harm U.S. interest in military operations?
Thank you, Senator. Well, we know that intelligence services and police agencies like the FBI use genetic data to identify people of interest. And foreign adversaries certainly have a great interest in members of our military, where they go, what they do. So that would certainly be a concern for me, and we can be assured that they are looking at that and trying to use our service members' genetic data. You also mentioned aggregate. Large data sets have great value today for training AI models. China is trying to build large data sets in every conceivable area, but they have some gaps. One of those gaps is that their population is not genetically diverse. And so they may have a large number of DNA profiles in their country, but they don't have the diversity that we have. And that genetic diversity is very helpful if you want to train a model that is predictive for things benign, like biomedical research, but also things malevolent, like bioweapons research. We don't want them to build out their database of DNA profiles with the diverse and rich data sets that we have here in America.
Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor Gottberg, California has already passed